in a way, to be the voice of the voiceless people in Turkey. I'm going to use a PowerPoint presentation today, and let me share my screen and move ahead. So today, as you said, I'm going to talk about the human rights violations in Turkey, as well as Advocates of Silence Turkey, which is the non-profit organization defending the human rights in Turkey. So who I am. Eyyup Esen is my formal and official name, but translated as Job in the Bible. My nicknames, Turkish Shark, Baby Shark. Shark, what is Shark? Shaquille O'Neal. And my favorite team is Golden State Warriors. My favorite dessert is pecan pie. And here is my team, my Golden State Warriors team that became champion 2 years ago. I'm not sharing who became champion last year, not my team, not this year. But anyway, so so I'm gonna use a little bit personal stories in this presentation while talking about the human rights violations in Turkey. I'm aware that it's a little bit heavy topic, it's a little bit deep topic, and all negativity in the world, but we also need a little bit hope, I believe. So, what is this picture? What's the significance of this picture? Anyone knows? This is my wedding. This is a picture from my wedding. You see, there are hundreds of people. There are actually about 400 people in my wedding. Why am I sharing this? There are, as I said, there are 400 people in this wedding, but who are not able to come, or who were not able to come to this wedding? My parents. My parents, you see my mom on the right side of the screen and my dad on the left side on the screen. And we broadcast this wedding through Zoom to 15 different countries where our friends live. And you see that a mom and a father standing up and watching their kids' wedding. And also you see my uncle and my aunt standing up, taking pictures with us. Someone said, oh, you know, his parents sent these video messages to congratulate him, and they look a little bit sad. But I always look so happy and I was always smiling. And someone was surprised to see me always smiling. But there was a reason actually. I knew that my parents and my relatives was watching me and the spotlight was on me and my wife. So I just pretended that I ignored in a way. I just pretended that I'm just so happy, and I was happy, a little bit sad that they were not with me. But I didn't want them to feel more upset because they couldn't come. But here is what I shared, you know, almost nowadays when I did not call my parents, my mom and my dad, but I showed these pictures. I got married on January 4th and I went to Washington, D.C. on January 7th, I guess. Yeah, it was 7th, the Tuesday. The Wednesday when I had the meetings, January 8th, and these were the pictures I showed to Kansas senators, congressmen, and congresswoman, and Congressman Cleaver from Missouri side. And if the separation of my family will bring liberation to women and babies and men whose freedom is stolen in Turkey, we are fine to see them in the paradise. And here is my picture with Sharice Davids. So we were just having our honeymoon, right? You know, you get married, and then you want to do a honeymoon. And we did a honeymoon. But after talking to my wife, this meeting we realized was so crucial. And I have my absolute freedom in this country that I can exercise. So it was in a way luxurious to say, hey, I'm celebrating my honeymoon. I cannot go to this meeting. But no, as I said, I cannot enjoy the honey here when 864 babies and 17,000 of women do not see the moon in Turkish prisons. That's why I felt so strong about going to DC right after our wedding to meet with senators, congressmen, and congresswomen about the human rights violations in Turkey. So, what is this picture from? This is when I had my engagement. We had our engagement on October 26th. Sorry, November 3rd. I should correct it. My wife is watching. I don't want her to get mad. So November 3rd, when we got engaged. Again, my parents, my sisters were not allowed to come here. This is 3 a.m. in Turkey. When we were celebrating our own engagement, my parents couldn't come, and they woke up, and as you see, my father wore his suit, and my sisters were ready, and I honestly was not expecting them to dress up so nicely. I just told them, do not wear your pajamas. But and and we had a WhatsApp conversation group, and what was going on in this conversation was one of them was getting a cake, one of them made a cake and some dessert, and my younger sister said she bought cookies from Starbucks to add the American flavor into this engagement party that took place in a mock engagement party, let's say, that took place in Istanbul when we had the original one in Chicago. And this is 3 a.m. in Istanbul, Turkey. So I'm gonna share a little bit of stories about human rights violations in Turkey. So my Facebook friends a little bit aware that I shared this picture a few months ago. This 8-year-old boy had cancer. The Turkish authorities didn't allow him to go to Germany to receive his medical treatment. After the pressure on social media, the social media campaign had this kid to be able to go to Germany. However, it took so much time for them to let this kid go, but they didn't allow his mom to go with him. Then more social media campaigns were done. Finally, she was allowed to go, but it was too late. Too late. And I wish this was around Valentine's Day. May Valentine's Day throw the seeds of love in the hearts of the heartless people. And here's another update. The good news was his mom was allowed to go. But unfortunately, it was too late. People, unfortunately, with no hearts, did not allow this little kid to go to Germany on time to receive his medical treatment. And you see here the mother, the sad mom, just sitting there by herself, and his father was not allowed to attend the funeral on time. He was able to visit later on, just for a few hours maybe, but she's by herself, and you see bunch of soldiers with her. But I'm aware that this is a little bit depressing story, but at the same time, I'm gonna try to give a little bit of message of hope. So this woman on the right-hand side, a Christian Armenian human rights activist in Turkey. She's tirelessly working to be the voice of these voiceless women and babies in Turkish prisons. And I watched her interview with this lady on the left-hand side, and she said she has no biological children, but had 1,000 non-biological kids that love her. She organized a fundraising campaign on GoFundMe and was able to get more than $50,000 for the medical treatment of the guy, of Ahmed, who unfortunately passed away. And here is this innocent picture. Our friends, some artists that support the human rights violations in Turkey, draw this image to create awareness and support the Turkish people. Due to the persecution in Turkey, many kids are in prison or getting drowned while trying to cross river Eros to Greece. Some mothers miscarried as the challenges were unbearable. And these pictures show that doves are crying for these babies while striving to spread peace. May peace prevail on earth. These oppressions, what are Turkish people who live in the US or other countries are facing these days? Say, on one hand, we have our freedom, but on the other hand, it's limited freedom. We are not allowed to go to our own country. If we go, they will put us in jail. And here's a picture of a friend of mine. Actually, he was just a virtual friend of mine. Somehow either him or I added one another on Facebook, and I saw his post that his mom passed away, but he was not able to go to his mom's funeral. And I had shared this picture on my Facebook and asking for prayers, interfaith prayers. And this guy was just so happy that people that do not know him and his mom was sending prayers from Kansas City to where he lives, Houston, and where his mom passed away in Turkey. And I was able to meet with this guy when I went to Houston, and he was very appreciative of these thoughts and prayers. So another picture. Who is this girl? This girl is my sister who got married last year, and I was not allowed to go to my own sister's wedding, and we were able to watch through FaceTime a little bit, but that's another picture that I wanted to share. So I prefer, talking about more stories, going over more individual stories, but what are those? These pictures, these stories are only the story of one person, but there are thousands of people who have been experiencing similar stories, and maybe more upsetting stories. And since the July 15th, 2016 in Turkey, when this attempted coup took place in Turkey, thousands of people, as you see, more than 100,000 people got fired. What does that mean? Say you are a doctor, you are a judge, you are a teacher. The next day, you are not allowed to work in any public place. If a private company hires you, the government threatens them that they will shut down this company. So, as someone used the term social death, these people are left for social death. They are not allowed to make money. About 6-7 years ago, when this unfortunate another war started in Syria, we started getting a lot of Syrian refugees. Until then, I didn't know much about refugees. Always the image, the capsized boats that I saw on TV came to my mind, and I was probably getting upset a little bit, but I'm not sure if I really felt from the bottom of my heart. Now, when I see that it is happening in Turkey, it's happening to people from my country, it makes me more aware of what does this mean, being forced to leave your own country. And more than 100,000 people detained, 50,000 people arrested, arbitrarily detained, and in very harsh conditions, in a room with the capacity of 24 people are kept together, and they are not allowed to say, if a mom has two kids, they took one of the kids to another room, even just only allowed moms to see their own kid once a week. If they are lucky, the unlucky ones, kids, are taken away from them and left in orphanages with no registration information provided to the parents. Can you imagine that? More than 2,000 schools, dormitories, universities shut down. What does that mean? Professors were not anymore called professors. In a couple of universities in Turkey, the dean of a department, the department chair of the university, and the professor is the same person. Say one person has 7 different titles. How can one professor handle 7 different full-time jobs? It's impossible, right? It's impossible to provide high quality education with this with this limited time. But if your goal is to uneducate people, then okay, mission is accomplished. More than 231 journalists arrested, and Turkey has the highest number of journalists in the world. 149 media outlets shut down. What does that mean? You cannot reach the unbiased, objective news in Turkey anymore. That's why these YouTube channels, Twitter pages are very commonly used in Turkey. And you see the stories of 6 different people here. I'm not go over each of them, but these people unfortunately were, I would say, killed by their own government. And here are some pictures from protests done in Europe. The babies are not allowed to talk, but they have their signs. Can anyone hear our cries? Another baby says, my mother was a journalist, so we are in prison. Here is a little bit good news. So I had listened to the stories of this couple last year. Even we had an interfaith event at Mother Mary, the annual dinner of Mother Mary event at Precious Blood Renewal Center in Liberty, Missouri. And we watched a video of this couple that Yasemin, the wife, was pregnant and she had 3 kids. She couldn't leave her country. She couldn't go to the hospital with the fear that she would be taken to the jail. In order not to leave her kids alone and not to give birth in a jail, she decided to have her baby at a resort place in silence. It was unbearable for her husband as well, but they got reunited in the United States, and they, after 2 years of separation, and now they live in New Jersey in a very happy way. And you see how he welcomed his family with these flowers, and you see the smile on their face. So what is this organization? Advocates of Silence Turkey, AST. It's a group of lawyers, judges, academics, journalists, activists who support democratic ideals and universal human rights. And the whole mission is to be the voice of the oppressed people in Turkey. And I became the board member recently, and we have hundreds of volunteers that are supporting us, hundreds of organizations we are partnering with throughout the US and different countries. And here are a few volunteering opportunities I posted, and I can share this information with those who are interested. You can be in touch with Geneva and she can share the information with me. But already more than 30 people where I live, Kansas City, are volunteering for Advocates of Silence Turkey, and we have just established our first advisory board for AST in Kansas City. So some of the volunteering opportunities are translation. We have volunteers translating from Turkish to English, but sometimes we need editing help, proofreading help, and we do a lot of fundraising activities. I need to get my water. Give me a second, please. Giving Tuesday is coming up, and we have formed a Giving Tuesday team this year, and we have meetings time to time. And our next meeting will be on October 25th on how to do a successful Giving Tuesday event. If you are interested, please again private message us, and we will send you the Zoom link for that event. It's a private event, so we won't share publicly, but if anyone is interested, we will be happy to share. And so media relations, public speaking, presentations, graphic design are some of the areas we need volunteers. And what Advocates of Silence Turkey is doing, archiving, documenting all of these injustices going on in Turkey. They are creating archives, but also policy reports, but also booklets, flyers, video interviews with those who had to flee from Turkey and ended up in different countries, such as Germany, Greece, United States, Canada, Netherlands, and whatnot. And you will be able to reach our documents if you go to our website, silenceturkey.org. But also, we organize some contests, such as songs sung for the oppressed. As you see, you can share this with your network. We try all different ways: songs, theater, acting, short film festival. We just had a couple of weeks ago, and we had a great success. Songs sung for the oppressed. We are gathering songs about human rights violations, so to create awareness in a more different way. And also Haluk Savaş Awards are for master and PhD students. If people are interested to write their dissertation and thesis, and also actually present in academic conferences about the human rights violations. Here is a protest that Advocates of Silence Turkey put together in New York. Free political prisoners in Turkey. But we always need the hope, right? We are aware these are tough times for people of Turkey especially, but we should never give up hope. A group of journalists and activists from United States went to Greece to meet with some Turkish refugees in Greece. And here is a great picture. A lot of Turkish, please, yeah, I hope you see the screen. A lot of Turkish refugees fleeing from Turkey for their life end up in Greece. And they have been so hospitable for Turkish people affiliated with Hizmet or Gulen movement. These refugees, Turkish refugees, still want to show their hospitality to their guests. Never lose your hope. So I'm gonna try something with you now, almost the end of the presentation, and we will get some Q&A. This Zoom has been, Zoom application has been part of our life recently. Maybe now it's not recent anymore, maybe for, let's say, 6-7 months at least. But sometimes we speak, but we are muted, right? And nobody hears us. It's a very horrible feeling. You want to say something and you just talk, and realize nobody's hearing. Nobody's able to hear you, right? So I'm going to play a game with you. You are all muted. Please mute yourself. Don't laugh at me. It's for a reason. So, please keep muting yourself. Do not unmute yourself, okay? You know, I never wear headscarf, so it's hard for me to know how to do this. But I want you, yeah. So you are all muted. Do not unmute yourself. And I have two babies with me. Now, scream peace. Do not unmute yourself. Just say peace, peace. See, nobody in the world was able to hear you. That's what is going on in Turkey. Mothers, women say peace, but nobody is able to hear them. That's how these people in Turkey feel. Now, please unmute yourself and say peace all together.
Peace.
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 I hope this presentation will give hope and peace and love to people who have been listening to us, who are unable to listen to us, who are oppressed, who are not able to talk. But I know what excites me about this event, that it will be recorded on Zoom, on Facebook, and it will be recorded on YouTube. One day, these people will get their freedom and will be able to watch us on YouTube and Facebook, and they will also have peace in their heart again. So thank you so much for giving me this chance. And let's conclude with this. Your first step to join this event is more important than Neil Armstrong's first step to the moon, as you made your first step to create peace in the world. Thank you so much, all.
Thank you.
Did you want to open for questions now? Or?
Yes. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Okay. Does anyone have a question? You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you do. Or you can type it in the chat if you're more comfortable doing that.
Let's see. There are some comments on the chat box. I see. Amber says teşekkür ederim in Turkish. Thank you. I guess you know a little bit Turkish. You know, I wanted to try something else in this presentation, because the political situation all around the world is not very positive, is depressing a little bit. But when it's same for me that when we didn't have this issue in Turkey, I'm not sure how conscious I was about the injustices going all around the world. As I said, one day I was talking to my mom, and she talked about the Syrian refugees who live in our buildings, where my parents live. And one day, that neighbor just came up to our door and asked for something from my mom, by just hand gestures, hand moves. And I didn't understand, but my mom brought a pot. And she said they are having guests and they don't have a big pot to cook. And that's what they were asking from my mom. And one day I realized they don't, in Turkey, people do not wear shoes at home. But these Syrian refugees were wearing shoes in their home, which was very unusual in Turkey. And then we realized they do not have any furniture in their home. That's why they were wearing shoes. So when, again, this we don't want anyone to come to cross the border illegally. And I was on the same page until this situation happened in Turkey. I was not, if I wasn't, I was always saying, why are these people trying to illegally go from Turkey to Greece? Referring to mostly Africans. And then I thought, they are not allowed to leave their country legally. That's the only way. That's the only way they can get their freedom. And I guess there are a couple of questions. So, should I read and answer, Geneva?
Yeah, you can if you
Sure.
want. Looks like there.
The first question I have from Karen, are there predictions about what the political future for Erdogan is during the next couple of years? Any possibility for changes on the horizon? That's a great question. The human rights activists, AST team, and many other human rights activists have been applying for different international human rights organizations or European Human Rights Court and many other human rights organizations, and speaking up on big media outlets, sometimes even New York Times, CNN, BBC, and stuff like that. But there are some changes, but not in a very promising way, I would say. But last elections, the mayoral election, Erdogan's party did not lost against the opposition. But honestly, I guess as people of Turkey, one lesson that we should take, we shouldn't dependent on a single guy or a single party or a single person. It's more like systemic change what we needed. When President Erdogan came to power years ago, many people, including me, supporting him, because when he came to power, he was more an embracing leader. He was respectful for diversity. He was just hugging everyone in Turkey. So you are like, oh, he's our dream guy. He is the anticipated hero for us. But as they say, absolute power corrupts. We don't know what happened, but things changed, and now he has turned to be a dictator and jailing, arresting, innocent, arbitrarily detaining thousands of mothers, babies. It's hard to believe that, and we see them in the USA. I have a medical doctor friend who was about to retire in Turkey, but he realized that things are really getting horrible in Turkey. So he had to flee with his family. He's now a 56-year-old guy and cannot practice medicine here, cannot speak English. So the only job he can do is more work as a driver. He can do that definitely. Anyone, can have those kind of jobs. But from a very comfortable life that he, deserved with his credentials, now he has to live in this country. One good thing, he has his own freedom. But the bad thing, having freedom does not mean being independent. Say you don't speak English, then you always need someone with you. Then the third part, to me, the third stage is being a contributing citizen. Just imagine you are helping someone, you are doing a community service work, you are working voluntarily in a non-profit that are helping people in need. Would you prefer to be the one who is getting the help, or would you enjoy more when you give it back to community? And these people traditionally have helped people all around the world that especially the government is attacking people affiliated with Gulen movement. Some of you know the name by Dialogue Institute, but the Gulen movement is the umbrella organization or umbrella movement. The umbrella name for the movement have charity organizations, schools, dialogue institutes throughout the world. And Facebook, I am very active on Facebook, and this Facebook feature of memories always reminds me what I did on this day 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And 7 years ago, we were doing fundraising for other refugees in the world. Now we are trying to help people of Turkey and to be the voice. So on one hand, I mean, we should keep our hope up. On the other hand, things in Turkey, unfortunately, are not going pretty good. And let me check the second question. And we still have 20 minutes. We are good with the time. So, great question. Aren't you afraid for your safety talking about the government online? That's a good question. If I don't speak, if she doesn't speak, if he doesn't speak, who will be able to speak? We did this Zoom play, right? Zoom mute play. I muted all of you. You wanted to say peace, but nobody heard you. So somebody has to step up. I know they might be able to watch. Actually, it's not just a might, it's not just a possibility. The police came to my parents' home just 4 weeks ago. In Turkey, my parents live in Turkey. The police went to my parents' home to see where I live. If I were to be in Turkey, I would be in jail most likely. About 2 years ago, police came for me and also for my sister. And they even detained her, luckily for just a few hours. But my sister is a very cold-blooded girl. She was like, oh, they just, picked me up and just had interrogation and released me. I don't know. When I think about it, it's more depressing. It's more scary for me. But sometimes I feel like my sister is stronger and more mature than me. But if I am scared, if he is scared, if we are all scared, who will speak up? So somebody has to stand up, and I don't mind being that person, and I feel privileged to live in this beautiful country, United States. I have my freedom of expression, and plus, I am able to speak English. Many people cannot speak English, and it's harder for them to speak up. They want to speak up, but nobody hears. So I'm aware of the risks of this talk, and it's online, it's virtual. I'm aware of the risks, but yeah, I want to be that person who takes the risk. Otherwise, change doesn't come, or as they say, freedom is not free. So the next question, by the way, if you have more questions, you can write on the chat box. And one more question, could you please help us understand what we can do for the oppressed people as Americans? I hope, this event will be recorded and you will be able to go back and watch it. Volunteer opportunities, the flyer that I shared on the screen is explaining what you can do for the oppressed people in Turkey. Advocates of Silence Turkey. If you just Google Advocates of Silence Turkey, you'll be able to see our page and also see a number of opportunities, volunteer opportunities for AST. We really need a lot of help, and I am very proud of my American friends here that they have been say like Mother's Day, Father's Day. We all celebrated that, right? But not everyone is able to celebrate Mother's Day as happy as us living in the US, or Father's Day. Because imagine you're a mom, but your baby, one day you are holding, the next day someone is taking your baby away and you cannot see your baby. So Mother's Day is not is not a happy day for you anymore. It's a sad day for you. So our friends, our American friends, recorded Mother's Day messages and sent it to us, and we collaged them and shared it with people from Turkey, and they were really so happy and peaceful that there are people caring about them. So one other thing I would say, as I said, we have this Giving Tuesday Giving Tuesday event on December 1st. It will be a live event on YouTube through the website, through the YouTube page of Advocates of Silence Turkey. But we want to reach out to more people. So, and we already start the planning stage. We had our first meeting a couple of weeks ago, and October 25th is our next Zoom meeting date. If you are interested in being part of that team, it will be a 60-minute meeting or presentation, I would say, talking about AST and different methods to be successful on fundraising efforts or Giving Tuesday efforts of AST. And each of us will try to call or email or text, whatever the preferable method of us and our friends, will try to reach out to our network. In this way, we can reach more people, and those donations definitely, help AST to be able to do more work. Say you want to hire an attorney, you need money, you want to print something, you want to do this event, and blah blah blah. You need this, and we do these film festivals. Organize, do these different video editings and many other things. Although we have hundreds of volunteers, still there is the cost side of it. So, and these are some of the opportunities that you can be involved. And let me see. Someone said, I can help with proofreading. Thank you so much. We will be in touch. And I know her, so we can chat later. And thank you, Geneva, for sharing the website of Advocates of Silence Turkey and how people can get involved. And what is Gulen Movement? Thank you so much. Is another question. Gulen Movement is a transnational organization inspired by Mr. Fethullah Gulen, who is a Turkish Muslim scholar, who is a big advocate of interfaith dialogue, but actually any kinds of dialogue, and has dedicated his life for peace in the world. He inspired millions of people to open schools, dialogue institutes, charity organizations all around the world. One of our sister organizations here in the US is called Embrace Relief. That's a charity organization like Red Cross, which is active in many other countries as well. And we do a lot of interfaith events, a lot of intercultural events, but the whole idea is, in my own words, contributing to the global warming of hearts, to depolarize our world. And maybe the second, which was the title of my first book, the second title, you see this picture behind me, right? So the title of my second book will be I Am Not Colorblind. So that's maybe another goal for our organization as well. We don't want colorblind anymore. We want to see and appreciate and love all the colors. As you see here, different colors all together, US flag during COVID-19. Why don't we see all the colors, all the ethnic groups, and appreciate and get rid of this ethnocentristic ideas and feelings? So that's in short what Gulen Movement is. And one other question, there are around 3.5 million, thank you, Karen. Thank you for showing that. And one other question, there are around 3.5 million Syrians in Turkey as refugees. How are they received and treated in Turkey? One more stop for water. If you were to ask me this question 6 years ago or 7 years ago, my answer would be different. As I guess initially we were very hospitable. Even we said, we don't call them refugees, we call them guests. You know, it feels so cool, right? When we say, they are our guests. They are not refugees, they are our guests. Yes, we were so proud, maybe 6, 7 years ago, they were welcomed in Turkey. However, later, tension increased among Turks and Syrian refugees. From being a guest, they became refugees again. People, I think one thing that people are not aware that we speak different languages, Turkish and Arabic. People from Turkey speaks Turkish, where people from Syria speaks Arabic. So one issue is language barrier. Another issue is people live in one apartment building, 3 families. Say it's a 2-bedroom house or 3-bedroom house, and you have 15, 20 people living together. And then just even making noise in their home created another issue. But also you see hundreds of Syrian homeless people in Turkey. We used to organize trips to Turkey with Dialogue Institute. And some of our American friends said, "Oh, you don't have homeless issue in Turkey." I was surprised because I never kind of made that observation before, but that was true. But later, when Syrian people came, unfortunately, there are a lot of Syrian refugees living under the bridges, begging outside the Islamic centers, outside the mosques. And all added, now I would say, unfortunately, they are not seen as guests anymore, and they are in a way devalued in Turkey. Yeah, as I said, 6, 7 years ago, I wouldn't give the same answer. I would say we are more respectful, but I feel like Americans are really respectful towards us. Although, on the media, sometimes we hear those negative, incidents. But I would say most people from other countries feel welcomed and accepted in this country. I guess there are a couple of questions. You can donate. I have a friend in Turkey who is a professor teaching more class than anyone should teach in a semester. Yeah, framing of the situation makes sense to me now. Devaluating education because an educated populace is a threat to authoritarianism, which is unfortunately true. Next question is, how many innocent people are being jailed in Turkey's prison right now, roughly? I would say, unfortunately, again, I'm just keep using this word, unfortunately, but more than 100,000. But it's the reason I wanted to share those individual stories. There are maybe thousands of Ahmeds who are separated from their parents, who are left for death. How can you hate an 8-year-old kid? How can you hate a mom with her baby? I don't know. How can someone enjoy a life by hating others? We all seeing these, dolls, babies when someone holds them. But what is your motivation to separate these kids from their dads and fathers? The numbers, I intentionally didn't focus on the numbers, because even when I ask myself, hey, 100,000 people in Turkey are arbitrarily detained, then I'm changing the number, 50,000. Do my emotions change? Honestly, no. I don't see any difference between 50,000 people imprisoned and 100,000 people imprisoned in Turkish prisons. So, but your participation here, people have been watching us. People are watching us. Are definitely a hope for the desperate people. So I try to do this work with my American friends. As I said, I became an advisory board, actually not an advisory board. I became a board member for AST, and when they said, please everyone create your own team, an advisory board team. I'm like, how can I find team members? Then I emailed my American friends, including Geneva, thank you by the way, has accepted to be an advisory board member that we do in Kansas City. But now the positive side of going virtual, our advisory board members are from Spokane, Wichita, Ohio, Kansas City. So they are not all from, they don't all live in Kansas City, and they don't need to be. So, yeah, and another message, pray. Where did it go? Okay, how many innocent, oh, okay, comment. We'll pray for innocent people in Turkey and all around the world. Thank you so much for the presentation. And yeah, thank you so much all. I will be, if there are any questions, please let me know. And I can keep talking till tomorrow. I see, I have my tea, I have my coffee.
Are there any final questions or comments? I think we have about 5 minutes left.
If no questions, I can add a couple of things maybe. I am involved in Dialogue Institute and also now AST. I stopped counting how many meetings I have a week because I do not want to sound busy to myself. Because if I feel that I am busy, I may start saying no when people, need help. So I even kind of become my own, try to become my own psychologist in a way, or a counselor, that I don't want to sound busy to myself. I want to be available for people who need help. Even I remember one of these human rights organizations asked me to do a translation of an official document just like 3 days before my wedding. And on one hand, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have too many things to do, but saying no would make me sad. And instead I said, yes, it took time, definitely, it took time, but I'm like, I don't have the luxury to say no to these people. Because actually, just one example, I was able to talk to a friend who who hosted us in Manisa, in the western part of Turkey, a small town. And after 40 years of living incognito in a way in Turkey, they were able to flee to Greece and now in Netherlands. And what he told me, after many years, he feels like he is being treated as a human being. It was really shocking to hear that from him. For the first time in my life, after 4 years, happy that people are treating me as a human being. And I guess one more question, don't intellectuals speak out in Turkey? Good question. Some do, some not. I would say actually very few do. And those who, or actually, it's not a funny question or it's not a funny topic, but many intellectuals are in Turkish prisons. The population of inmates, if we use that word, I mean, it's even using that word makes me upset. The number of arbitrarily detained people in Turkey, or the arbitrarily detained people in Turkey are more educated than people who are living, I would say, open air prison, which is the current Turkey. And Turkey is not acting like a smart person or a smart country anymore. Even jokingly saying, Turkey is acting like a bird turkey that lost its brain. So sometimes we don't, or many times we don't really understand what is going on in Turkey, and what's going on is not making sense to us. But uh, we all do our best. We all do our best and always have to keep up our hope and be the smile, be the reason of the smile on people's faces, because depression will make us feel weaker, and if we feel too depressed, we won't be able to help anyone, because we will be the one who need help. So personally, I am very cautious about that, always trying to find things that makes me happy, that makes me laugh in the life. And people usually see my happy face, laughing face on social media and in the life. And I enjoy the life, but always also working tirelessly about these injustices. So trying to balance, but I am very careful not to go extremely emotional, because I'm aware. What actually, this was a good lesson by my American friend, who asked me 3 times, "How do you feel, Eyyup? How are you feeling these days?" And I kept saying, "Good, good, good." And he responded, "If you don't feel good, you cannot do good for other people." So that was a great lesson for me. Always, keep myself energetic and hopeful so that I can help others. By again talking too much, I guess it's already 7:01. Thank you everyone who watched us today.
Thank you so much, and thanks everyone who joined us. And if you want to send me the flyer of the volunteer opportunities, I'll send that out to our network. And if you wanted to share that story you sent me as well, I can forward that out to the participants, everyone who registered. And I'll send the recording out too. So thank you everyone for taking time, and thank you to Eyyup. And I hope that you all have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye.